You're watching Channel 22, Lawndale's community cable television for the South Bay.
Good evening, fans, and welcome to another exciting Channel 22 sports presentation. We're at Leuzinger High School tonight. It's homecoming 1998. Leuzinger Olympians hosting the Santa Monica High School Vikings. And we're ready for the coin toss, so let's go down field level for the opening coin toss.
Call it, please. Heads is called. Heads it is. Okay, White is going to defer, gentlemen. Okay, White's going to defer.
Number 71, Anthony Culpepper.
You want to kick to the point. Who's over there going to receive it? White's going to be here to kick.
At linebacker,
Who's going to receive it at the clock, gentlemen?
Frankie Yonder.
Receive it here. Step in real quick, gentlemen.
Overback, number 4, Jamal Watson.
I have no idea what value of the game is, but it's the biggest thing you've got to do tonight.
Okay, so fans, there you saw the opening coin toss, which Santa Monica won, but elected to kick off to the Olympians and go on defense first. Somewhat of a change, but we'll see how that strategy works out for them. We expect this to be a very good game tonight. I'm Rufus Washington, joined by David Marks tonight doing color commentary for us. It's a clear, crisp football night here in Southern California, David.
Yes, it is. You still need a leather jacket and an overcoat, but that's good Southern California weather for you. And in a game which is actually the last game of the season, but the homecoming, which is sort of unusual, but it's also a night that Leuzinger wants to get off the schneid, so does Santa Monica. Neither one of these teams are heading for postseason, but there's a lot of pride at stake tonight, and for the seniors, this is the last go-round. Some of them looking to get that college bid and looking to graduate, and this is a very important game for them.
And there you see the Leuzinger Olympians taking the field. As David mentioned, a disappointing season for two schools that historically have had very good programs. Santa Monica, its history for those who study it will tell you that they've had some great athletes come out of there. This being a disappointing 2-7 year overall, 2-4 in Bay League competition, matched of course by Leuzinger's 2-7 record, 2-4 in Bay League competition. But as you noted, one of the things in today's newspaper that Coach Bobby Greer indicated that this is a game for pride. You know, he's got a lot of seniors, a lot of guys who've been in the program for 4 years, and they'd sure like to set them off on a winning note tonight.
Well, they certainly do, and he mentioned to me that he'd like to send them off to college because it's very important that some of these players continue their academic careers once they get here. Once they leave here, actually. And he said one of the problems that he's had over the years is for various reasons, players have not been able to finish the high school program. They've either had to work for hard economic reasons or other factors have come up. So he's very concerned about not only seeing that they finished their last game as an eligible senior, but that they are able to go on to a successful college, and maybe not just a junior college, but to a big 4-year college. So there's a lot at stake for both teams, especially the seniors tonight.
And one of the things that we will see on offense tonight when Leuzinger goes on offense is that Chaz Foster will be quarterback again tonight, having replaced David Marshall, who started for much of the season last week. And here's the kickoff, and it's a pooch kick taken by one of the up linemen. Boy, you talk about coming out of the gate with your bag of tricks. Santa Monica right off the bat goes to an onside kick, which Leuzinger recovers to give them excellent field position.
Well, cute but no cigar. I mean, you know, you have nothing to lose. It's the last game of the season. If you make it, it's a big shock. And keep in mind, they won the toss. Maybe they elected to do it just to kick just for that particular trick, but they are going to have bad field position.
And of course, an earlier Bay League competition, and I'll let you tell them about this game, David, since you were there. Hawthorne was successful against Beverly Hills, I understand.
Yes, they were, and it's funny that you mention onside kicks because not that it mattered, but there was an interesting situation in that game. Hawthorne was ahead by a substantial amount, and Beverly Hills scored a touchdown, their second touchdown. I believe at the time it made the score 35-12. They elected to go for the onside kick. It bounced right into the good, big, waiting hands for Hawthorne. It bounced right into Chris Perry's hands, and he ran it back 51 yards. They squibbed it along the side. It popped right up into him. He just ran 51 yards down the sidelines, and at that point it made it 42-13, and we're pretty much out of reach then, but, you know, that's what happens sometimes when you don't recover the onside kick.
And, of course, what that win does is gives Hawthorne the outright Bay League championship and a home game next week to start the playoffs.
Yes, and their fans were celebrating in the town of Beverly Hills.
But we're here tonight at Leuzinger. And on our first play of the game, they go to the air. Pass intended for Alpha English is incomplete. Leuzinger, as a result of the attempted onside kick by Santa Monica, will start their opening drive right at midfield.
And, of course, a good defensive play right off the bat.
So it's a 2nd down and 10 now for the Olympians. Game just getting underway, fans, if you're just joining us. Leuzinger out of the eye, hands it off to the second back through. That's Fontenot. He goes around the right side, has one man to beat, and is finally pushed out of bounds down near the 10-yard line. Big 40-yard run for Therian Fontenot.
Yes, and you kind of look for him to have a good game tonight. He, of course, is one of the plethora of juniors that Leuzinger can expect to see back next year, and he wants to get out of here on a successful note. As you may remember last week on the first drive against Hawthorne, they ran well, but that was it right after that.
And make no doubt about it, if you follow this Leuzinger team, Therian Fontenot is their offensive threat. Here you got a flag on the play. They go to the air. It's incomplete. Let's see what the flag's going to be.
Well, it's a motion penalty here, going to set him back 5 yards. It's interesting tonight that Coach Donald Pasinger for Santa Monica said, we're going to basically take what they give us, so to speak. He was kind of vague as far as what his attack was going to be. Was he going to blitz? Was he going to run? Was he going to, he's vague about it. It's just kind of like a wait and see. Let's see what their strengths are. But, if they're not able to stop Fontenot, it's going to be a long night.
So it's a 5-yard penalty against the Olympians. That will back them up outside the 20. Well, it looks like they're outside the 20. They keep it on the ground to Fontenot, and he's going to be stopped for a little or no gain on the play.
Well, again, trying that right side. And, of course, Santa Monica, the Vikings know that that's a man that they must stop. So it's a matter of trying to gang tango. One thing that Coach Pasinger for Santa Monica did mention is they're going to know where number 7 is tonight.
So on Fontenot's run, they apparently ruled that he was out of bounds closer to the 20-yard line, although he was finally brought down at the 10. So Leuzinger right now outside the 20, and again, we've got flags on the play.
I'm wondering if they didn't take too much time this time. Either that or become another procedure call.
So the Olympians, after the good run by Therian Fontenot, found themselves backing up 10 yards on the next 2 plays. And now we see a timeout being taken by the Olympians as Coach Greer goes out on the field.
Yeah, you imagine they wanted to get together. And I guess while we have this timeout, we were talking about Hawthorne. The congratulations have to go to the Hawthorne Cougars. They won their first Bay League title since 1993, and again, they won it outright. In 93, they were in a tie position, but they swept through this league 7-0 this year. They came in and spanked Beverly Hills on their home field today, and it was a big game for Beverly Hills because Beverly Hills knew that if they get the win, they have an outside shot at maybe sneaking in as champions because both teams would have had one loss. So their fans, Beverly Hills and the coach, they knew the significance of the game, but Ishimandu put it to rest right away. He had a big 17 carries for 148 yards, and on one of his runs this afternoon up there, it looked like he was running through a forest of trees as he tracked his way to the end zone. Big game for them.
So it's a 2nd down and 20 for the Olympians now. Again, they give it to Fontenot, and he picks up about 5 on the carry to make it a 3rd and long for the Olympians here early in first quarter action. We've got 10:50 left in the first quarter.
Well, we have yet to see a pass. It's early. You may remember last week in the game against the Cougars, although it looked like they have a decent passing attack, they waited until too late to go to it. Well, this is a passing situation right here, and we'll see if they're able to click.
Olympians need to get down to the 10 to pick up the 1st down. And once again, they keep it on the ground. This is Fontenot, and he's going to be stopped about 10 yards short of the 1st down. So it'll be interesting to see what Leuzinger does here. Doesn't have a renowned kicking game to say, so you wouldn't think of the field goal as a real option, although it looks like they're going to come out and they're going to show field goal.
Well, we've seen some interesting calls in the first only 2 minutes and 5 seconds into this first quarter. Onside kick by the kicking team, and sure passing situation going for the draw up the middle. Now let's see if they fake the field goal.
The kick is up, and it's going to be way short.
Should have faked it.
So, Leuzinger field goal attempt is no good with 9:39 left here in the first quarter. The Santa Monica Vikings will go on offense for the first time tonight.
And on their offense, you should expect to see quarterback Brandon Bowden. He, of course, Brandon Bowden is a senior. And you can look for Alan Hunt to carry the ball quite a bit tonight. Alan Hunt, number 3 in their backfield.
So Bowden with the handoff. Santa Monica keeping it on the ground for very little gain on the play. Gets back maybe to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it looked like it was Hunt that time carrying. Of course, Hunt, one of the seniors. They've got a total of 24 seniors on the Vikings roster, and 8 of the seniors are starters. So Coach Donald Pasinger going to be losing a majority of his team. We're playing their last game tonight.
Santa Monica operates out of the eye, passes over the middle. That pass deflected by Fontenot, nearly intercepted. That'll make it a 3rd down and 8 now for the Vikings.
Yeah, if he holds on to that, it's got 6 written all over it. Now 9:02, Santa Monica in what looks like a passing situation.
Again, out of the eye, they drop back the pass, and there's a sack. Espinoza tackled by number 22 for the Olympians. And, of course, we know that that's David Brown, a name that we've called on several occasions on the defensive side of the football for the Olympians this year.
Yes, and he, of course, another one of those juniors getting in there and applying the pressure. And down goes Espinoza, who starts tonight at quarterback instead of Bowden.
And there you saw Brown come in untouched. Makes it a 4th and 18 for the Vikings. Leuzinger sets up to receive the punt out near midfield. They take it at the 45. That's Johnson, got some running room, goes to a knee. Down near the 35, inside the 35-yard line. Donald Bell, on the return for the Olympians.
Yeah, when you get one of those line drive punts, it's going to get to you quickly, and you get a chance to. The coverage can't get there, and that's why he was able to pull off the big run. But interesting, anyway, to Santa Monica, they start Espinoza tonight. You got to wonder, is that a defensive thing? Because a couple of weeks ago, they elected to start Espinoza over Bowden. Bowden was the one who just punted, but usually Bowden the better quarterback. But Paisinger has decided to switch up tonight here at the last game.
So Leuzinger once again gets excellent field position, this time at the 32-yard line of Santa Monica. Here comes a blitz. They lay the pass up, and it's complete. Boy, that was complete to Chester Johnson, and he goes down at the 1-foot line.
Well, it looked like he was waiting for a coconut to fall from the tree there. I mean, just laid right up there perfectly. Had to come back a little bit for it, but just enough air under it. Of course, he beats the defender. And, yeah, coconut right out of the tree, beating Alan Hunt there on the coverage.
So a 31-yard pass completion from Chaz Foster to Chester Johnson takes it down to the 1-yard line, and now we've got a flag on the play.
Well, the last series, you may remember, they shot themselves in the foot a few times with procedure calls. And a procedure call down here, back them up another 5 yards. Oh, got the offset going the other way, so half the distance to the goal. How about that?
That'll move it 1 inch closer to the goal line. That ball, I tell you, is right at the goal line. So Leuzinger knocking on the door here with 7:50 left in the first quarter. They give it to Fontenot, and the signal, touchdown. So Therian Fontenot with what will be officially scored as a 1-yard touchdown run puts Leuzinger on the board first, 6-0, with the extra point attempt coming up.
And of course, that run coming courtesy of the big pass, the first big pass play of the night, getting them down to the 2-yard line. And the old cliche, the Olympians have drawn first blood.
Extra point attempt, kick is up, and it's good. So Leuzinger breaks on top first by a score of 7-0 here, homecoming, 1998 at Leuzinger High School.
With timeout on the field, game starting out, as we mentioned, with Santa Monica going for an onside kick and not getting it at the 50-yard line. Interesting way to start. We saw basically in the first possession, Leuzinger keeping it on the ground in passing situations, as we see they keep it on the ground there for the little half-foot plunge, taking it in. So, we were questioning why they didn't put it up on that first series, but of course, when they did put it up, well, they got big effect out of it.
So, Leuzinger now preparing to kick off. Of course, last week against Hawthorne, they broke on top early on the opening drive, and on the kickoff, gave up a 95-yard kickoff return, which, as Coach Greer said, quickly deflated his team. You can expect they'll try to defend a little bit better against that this week. Short kick taken at the 20-some yard, at the 30-yard line. Going to be brought down at the 32, let's call it. So Santa Monica will go on offense from their own 32-yard line.
Well,
with 7:39 left here in the first quarter.
There's no Ciueli to Lopo to contend with out there tonight, so that shouldn't be much of a problem.
So once again, this is our first look at the Vikings this year. Again, their quarterback, Espinoza. They send a man in motion. Give it off to the second back in the eye, and he's immediately brought down for no gain on the play.
Well, Alan Hunt, the man beaten on that long pass play, and they're carrying the ball. He's going to get the bulk of their carries, and they need him to have a good game on the ground tonight.
So it'll be a 2nd down and 10 now for the Vikings. And they've had to change a quarterback here that we didn't pick up. That time you had Brandon Bowden, number 7, who we thought was going to be the starting quarterback under center that time.
Well, we're going to see a little quarterback shuffle tonight, perhaps, as flag on that play. Looking perhaps for the interference call on the far side of the field.
As we wait for the indication from the referee, and that's that it's a personal foul against the Olympians. That's going to be an automatic first down for the Vikings, and that's one of the things that you don't want to do, Dave. You don't want to help out your opponent with personal fouls and giving them cheap first downs.
Well, you don't want to give up big, long kickoff returns after a big scoring drive, and you also don't want to commit those sort of penalties, because you may remember, as we wait for the official, you may remember last week, not only was it the big kickoff return by Tui Polotu of Hawthorne that hurt them, but they had a 31-yard run from scrimmage by Fontenot that was called back by a holding penalty, and it was basically all downhill in last week's ball game. So after scoring the first touchdown of the night tonight, not wanting to allow a situation, as Yogi Berra or Casey Stengel might have said, of deja vu all over again.
So the defensive holding gives Santa Monica a first down out at the 45-yard line. This time they're going to lose a half a yard on the play as David Brown in on the tackle.
Well, it was Young that time, not getting anywhere. Young, another one of the regular starters. He's a junior. Most of the starters are seniors for Santa Monica. They'll sometimes use Joseph Young at the tight end position. Seems like some of the players are interchangeable for Donald Pasinger. When you're 2-7, I guess that's usually the way it goes.
So it's a 2nd down and 11 now for the Vikings. They drop back to pass. There's a pass out in the flat. It's completed out across the 50-yard line. That pass complete.
Now it's Anthony Green on the reception. Good little quick hooking up. And they've got about 5 yards, 5.5 yards to go for that first down. Had a lot of time there. And hard hit.
And on the tackle for the Olympians, Chaz Foster, also their starting QB.
I thought it's interesting at the high school level, you get to play 2 ways.
3rd and 4 now for the Vikings. This time they keep it on the ground. They pick up the first down.
And that's Hunt with a big gain. He needed 5. He got 6.
Derek Winston made the stop, but not until after Hunt had picked up the first down. And now Santa Monica on the move as we watch the replay here. There you see Hunt hit the hole. Winston wraps him up, but Hunt has enough forward momentum to pick up the first down.
5'7" and 165 pounds.
This time they go to the air, and it's complete. Down near, looks like they're going to spot it inside the 10-yard line. That pass completed to Jamal Watson.
Perfect throw and a spectacular catch.
So Santa Monica now knocking on the door.
Well, you figure with 2 teams that are basically evenly matched, you could go up and down the field quite a bit tonight, which is good for the fans, but headache for the coaches.
So from the placement of the side markers, it would appear that Santa Monica could pick up a first down without scoring a touchdown. But I'm sure they're thinking TD right now. They keep it on the ground. Quarterback keeper stopped after a very short game.
So Bowden on the keeper that time.
So that'll make it a 2nd down and 10 for the Vikings, as you see on your replay there. The Leuzinger defense meeting them right at the line of scrimmage. They're going to credit them with a gain of close to 2 on that play. Once again on the ground, Leuzinger defense playing very tough right now. They're stacking things up right in the middle. I think you're going to have to show these guys something a little different if you expect to get in from here.
Well, on this play, I guess you could expect to see them go to the outside or go to the air, and they need about 6 yards to go. That time going straight up the middle with Hunt. And not much coming.
So it's a 3rd and goal now for the Vikings. This time they drop back to pass. That pass tipped by Fontenot. It's going to bring up a 4th and goal for the Vikings. So the Vikings now have a decision of their own to make, David.
Well, based on how good their kicking game is, it doesn't look like they're bringing a punter onto the field, as you see Fontenot does it on both ends. A little chip and a deflection there. Runs the ball and, of course, plays on the defense. And here at the high school level, you pretty much are expected to go both ways, and they do.
And now we have a timeout taken by the Vikings on 4th and goal from the 10-yard line. They want to set some strategy here. They've got an excellent opportunity they want to take the most advantage of with 3:47 left in the first quarter on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
And with this being a big situation, with the time and the score, that's why they like to take the time out. And you figure you got nothing. I mean, you're going to go for an onside kick in the first play of the game. Why not go for it on 4th down?
Okay, coming out of the timeout, Santa Monica at least showing that they're going to go for the field goal. Kick is up, and it's good. So, Santa Monica scores on the field goal to make our score 7-3.
So they do get some points out of it. They needed something as this first quarter winds down. And a nice long drive where they mixed it up successfully there, going to the run and the pass. And that key play of the drive was a beautiful catch made on the throw by Bowden. Jamal Watson doing it down the left sideline that got him down to about the 10-yard line, and they're able to take it in. Well, they don't take it in. They get the field goal after 3 plays.
And actually a pretty impressive drive for the Vikings. That time to get themselves in scoring position.
Yeah, it certainly was. And now look for the Olympians to counter. The way this game has gone, well, no onside kick. They're going to kick it deep.
And this time it goes to Bell, number 3. And he's got some running room as he brings it out across the 40-yard line to about the 43, where once again for the 3rd time tonight, the Olympians get very good field possession to start their drive.
And in this situation, with 2:20 to go, they've shown the ability to run, and they hooked up on that one big pass. So we'll see how they elect to come out here.
So this time the Olympians come up, Foster under center and McCullough in the backfield with him. They do a nice fake there. McCullough keeps it, and he's driven out of bounds over on his side of the field.
Well, nothing downfield as he's driven way out of bounds that time. Going with the old option play.
So they mark it out at the 45-yard line. Makes it a 2nd down and 8 for the Olympians now. Once again, they keep it on the ground. A fumble on the play. Santa Monica thinks they've come up with it. And that's the indication from the officiating crew. So Leuzinger's first turnover here in their own territory. They fumble it at the 45-yard line.
Well, McCullough's first carry of the night, and unfortunately for him, he puts the ball on the ground, And the Santa Monica Vikings are in big business. Their ball had been never hit the ground, and it just came right out.
That was McCullough with the carry. Excellent camera work by the crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Swing pass, and it's dropped, picked up. They're going to rule that was a lateral and a fumble. Yeah, and that's going to be a touchdown for Donald Bell. Let's see how they rule it. 55-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown on the swing pass behind the line of scrimmage. That's what the officials are ruling, because the ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. It's not a forward pass. That makes it a live ball as we watch the replay here. And there you see it out in the flat. I don't think that they're ruling that a catch on a fumble, but rather a fumble as if though it were a handoff. High snap, kick is up, and it's no good. But Leuzinger strikes quickly to lead by a score of 13-0 on the 55-yard fumble recovery run by Donald Bell.
Well, Anthony Green, the man that pass was intended for Santa Monica, has got to be the loneliest person on Rosecrans Avenue at about this time. I mean, he had it just in and out of his hands, laying there on the ground, and some 55 yards later, they are trailing bigger.
So Leuzinger takes advantage of the turnover right away to extend their lead now to 13-3. They're now kicking off. Kickoff taken by one of the upbacks for Santa Monica, and he brings it out across the 30-yard line to about the 33, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Vikings.
Well, the Vikings cannot afford to stay behind. They've got to get back in this ball game pretty quickly, or at least they've got to try to. Misfortune being scored on in a flash. Unfortunate turnover. And you look for them to start putting it up. They're going to need to make a statement on this drive if they are going to hang in here tonight, which they should be able to do because the teams are fairly evenly matched.
And now we've got an official timeout being taken on the field.
Saw one of the officials before the ball game heading back to his car. I said, "You forgot your flag?" Said, "No, my whistle." Said, "Can't do the game without the whistle."
So Santa Monica trying to regain some offensive momentum here. They start by giving it off to Alan Hunt, who's obviously the feature back in their running game.
Yes, and he's broken a 7-yarder. Hasn't broken the big one yet, and seems to run well when he kind of gets to the outside. Trying to go up that middle, hasn't been ultimately successful in this first quarter.
This time, Santa Monica out of the eye, gives it to the second back through, which is Hunt once again. And Hunt breaks a couple of tackles, picks up the first down. The Olympians had him stopped at the line of scrimmage, and somehow or another, he kept churning his legs, got loose, picked up the first down.
Well, he weighs 155 pounds. Yeah, just Fontenot, the one trying to get him down. So there you go, two running backs going at it. And once he slipped out of Fontenot's hands, it's down the sideline for more yards.
Took it out to their own 48-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Right now they trail by a score of 13-3, and we've got flags on the play. And from the timing of this whistle, it would seem to indicate that it's going to be against the Vikings.
Now the procedure call. Well, we're wrong again. I mean, technically it is an illegal procedure, but it's also encroachment. This one on the defense.
So that penalty goes against the Olympians. takes the ball into Leuzinger territory at the Leuzinger 47. First down and 5 now. Santa Monica fakes it to Hunt. Nice pass, and boy, that's a drop all day, boy. That's Jamel Watson. Excellent throw there that time by Bowden. Led his man beautifully, and that was a drop.
Well, you win some, you lose some. Last time he lit them up for the big completion that got them their first score. And this time has to step, right off those fingertips. Right off the old fingertips.
And not a happier guy on the field than Chaz Foster, because he was beaten on that play, and I keep hoping that someday they'll come up with a stat that shows drops, because unfortunately it's the quarterback whose stats take the beating on plays like that when the receiver drops it.
Well, that one completed to, that's the referee there, the one who was waving his hand. He's the one I saw that forgot his whistle tonight. But you talk about catches off the fingertips, of course, for Hawthorne, Kevin Jackson had a beautiful one off the fingertips today. He had, as a matter of fact, this afternoon, Kevin Jackson had a 46-yarder and a 62-yarder, and the 62-yarder from Eric Moala was of the fingertip variety. Hit him in stride, took it off the grass, and went in for pay dirt. Again, we keep repeating a big afternoon for Hawthorne as they clinch the Bay League Championship 45-19 over Beverly Hills. So they go undefeated, and they are Bay League champs.
So it's a 3rd down and 5 now. Once again, Hunt showing good footwork, picks up the first down as he takes it deeper into Leuzinger territory to the Leuzinger 33-yard line.
Well, it seems like that left side is his good side tonight, getting to the outside and now beginning to tack him on. Doing a lot of it getting around that big pile and just slipping on down the sideline, taking 3 people to bring him down.
Finally brought down by number 71 for the Olympians, whom we don't have in our program. But it's a 1st and 10 for the Vikings. This time they go to the air. Pass is incomplete.
Well, this time on the other side, Anthony Green was open in the flat, but electing to work that left side. Wouldn't be surprised to see them try to come to the right side this time. With 1:17 to go in this first quarter. They're serving some good pizza here tonight at Homecoming. We can't have any.
It's been a long first quarter here, quite frankly. 1:17 still left. And dropping for a loss on that play. But speaking of pizza, I guess that's not in our contract that we get a complimentary meal. Of course, the folks here at Channel 22.
Well, I'd rather have the fans enjoy it. Let the fans have it here tonight. They're eating it up. That time as they kept the ball on the ground, looking to switch it up, going to Johnson, Kenny Johnson. And he's another one of those seniors. So you got a good backer like Hunt. You got to mix it up every once in a while. But this is a big 3rd down play.
3rd and 12 for the Vikings. David Brown on the pursuit. Pass out in the flat, just overthrows his intended receiver, who had gotten a step on Fontenot. And that's been a couple of good passes by Bowden, just off the tip, off the hands of his receiver. As we watch the replay here, Bowden stands in the pocket strong, lays it up there, just overthrows his intended receiver, number 8. And, of course, we know that is Kenny Johnson.
They're going to go for it on 4th down. Why not?
So on 4th down, the Vikings going for it, and that pass is going to be incomplete. So Leuzinger is going to come out of it with excellent field position at their own 35-yard line.
Well, David Brown and Lamar Johnson with a rush that time. He had nowhere to go. Lucky to get that one off. So the defensive stand for the Leuzinger Olympians. They lead here tonight by a score of 13-3. 12 ticks to go in this long first quarter.
And Santa Monica, obviously, in watching the film, saw some weaknesses in the Leuzinger secondary because they've thrown on them quite often tonight and, quite frankly, have just missed just by inches on each play. They give it to Fontenot, keeps it on the ground. His forward momentum gets him back, fans, to the line of scrimmage. But it's going to make it a 2nd down and 10, as that's the end of first quarter action here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 from Leuzinger High School. It's homecoming 1998.
Santa Monica 3.
Isn't? Oops. So after one quarter, Leuzinger leads by a score of 13-3. A couple of good plays in that drive for them, David. Of course, the big one being the 55-yard fumble return by Bell for the touchdown after Santa Monica had drawn to within 7-3. Leuzinger opened it back up on that play.
Well, it's not quite Christmas and Kwanzaa yet, but if somebody gives you a gift, why not take it, especially when it's early?
So Leuzinger starts by keeping it on the ground. Once again, it's a Fontenot, and he's going to be pushed back. Although the ball popped loose, they're going to say his forward momentum had already been stopped.
Yeah, definitely. So, keep in mind on the last drive, it was McCullough coughed it up to Santa Monica, but they weren't able to score. So the Olympians came up with a big defensive play. But right now, in this first possession of the second quarter, the Olympians are going backwards, but they do lead.
So they call it no gain on the play. It's a 2nd down and 10 for the Olympians now at their own 35-yard line. Chaz Foster under center. Fontenot in the backfield with him. Fontenot blocking. Now he goes out in the pass pattern. And Fontenot is going to be dropped for a loss of yardage on that play. Loses about 3 on the completion.
Yeah, they were trying to set a screen that time, but didn't get there. Fontenot was in the right place, but I don't think the Vikings defense bit on that one, and as a result, it's going to bring up a 4th down, and the Olympians are going to have to punt.
So our scoreboard incorrectly informed us that that was a 2nd down, but in fact it was a 3rd down play, and now we got a timeout being signaled for by the Olympians here with 10:41 left in the first half. Not quite organized on that punt attempt, having to burn a timeout.
Yeah, that's their first time out and a half, but of course with them having the lead, no big deal. This is a big punt. Santa Monica still very much in this ball game. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for 2 dropped balls on some beautifully thrown passes, they might have another touchdown on the board here tonight. So they know that they've got to get this punt away, and they've got to try to give Santa Monica bad field position because they are capable of scoring quickly. And again, if it were not for the gift, picking up the ball on the ground after they blew the pass when Anthony Green wasn't able to get the lateral, and they run it all the way back from 55 yards, or else it would still be 7-3.
Okay, it gives us an opportunity during the timeout to give a shout out to the Leuzinger crowd here, which has turned out in very good numbers, and of course that's because it's homecoming 1998, but more importantly, a great deal of support being shown by the Olympian family here tonight. What an excellent crowd to watch this game. Hoping to be treated to a victory, but as well to enjoy the celebration of some young couple that will be announced as Mr. and Miss Royalty, 1998. So the punt sails out of bounds. Looks like they're going to mark it right inside the 50 at about the Santa Monica 48, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Vikings.
And to sort of piggyback on your last comment, Coach Bobby Greer very much wants to thank the Booster Club for losing it tonight. He wants to send much praise to them because they've done a lot of fundraising for next year. And what he also says, for as thankful as he is, he wants parents of more of the players to get involved. He said he's had heavy involvement from 5 players' parents this year, and we're going to name them because he does want them named on the air. But it's been a good year for the Boosters.
Santa Monica drops back to pass. Nice pass. Incomplete once again. Chaz Foster on the coverage. That pass intended for Watson. And that's two that Watson has just let slide off the tips of his fingers, David.
Well, of course, he did catch one of them, but you know they're going to catch on with that sooner or later. I mean, they're going to begin to click on that. You can't let them get that open all night. I mean, that had home run written all over it, but he just wasn't there.
And again, Santa Monica continues to challenge the Leuzinger defensive backs. This time they keep it on the ground. Very short gain on the play. But I will give him credit. Certainly adds an element of excitement to the game. So many of these games we're watching, and teams, of course, and coaches, they coach the talent that they have. And in this case, Santa Monica apparently has pretty good talent on the receiving core, just haven't been able to make the connection so far. But I tell you, man, as close as they are, you know, it won't be long before they make that connection.
Well, I think if you or anyone in our audience is old enough to remember Sly and the Family Stone records, you can remember there were days when you didn't see much passing in high school football. That gives you kind of an idea of how old we are. But, yeah, I mean, at least you do see the pass right now. The pass is a factor in a lot of games at the high school level, and obviously both of these teams have a decent passing attack, and we've seen some evidence of it tonight, and sooner or later Santa Monica is going to click on that.
And, of course, considering the way that Leuzinger is defense and the running attack of Santa Monica, maybe it is your better choice to send it to the air. It's a 4th down and 7, ball right at the midfield stripe, rather. Santa Monica going to go for it. There's a pass over the middle. It's complete. And let's see where they spot it at. Looks like they're going to spot it just outside the 35-yard line, actually just outside the 40, which will be enough for the first down.
Well, Maurice Johnson with the biggie right here. You know, when I used to play touch football in the street, we used to always have this big guy who was kind of heavy, and no one would ever check. Well, he was checked here, but no one would ever check this real big guy, and he would always catch things over the middle like that and beat us for first downs, the way Maurice Johnson did just there that time.
And that was Bell with the tackle. Hunt this time with the carry. He's going to get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe give him one. But you got to give their quarterback Bowden a lot of credit. I mean, he stands in there under the pressure, and on the previous play where they picked up the first down, he stood in under some heavy pressure from the Leuzinger defensive line in order to make that completion for the first down.
Oh, yeah, and you got to give that line some credit, too, for giving him the time that time. And, of course, the little fake, play-action fake, allowing him to get a little more life there. And the drive continues for them with 8:10 to go in the second quarter.
Right now they trail by a score of 13-3, but they're knocking again. This time they keep it on the ground. It's going to be a short gain on the play. It's going to bring up a 3rd and long once again for the Vikings.
And on the big 3rd down play, well, we were mentioning Sly and the Family Stone a second ago. I don't know what you call that. I don't know, do you call that the Motown Review or something? Or the Watts? Remember, they did have Watt stacks out here in '72 with Isaac Hayes with the chain outfit that he was wearing.
So on the 3rd and long, Bowden drops back to pass and hits his receiver at the 30-yard line. That's going to be another first down.
Well, Jamal Watson with the big one. This time he catches a little down and in pattern. The fly pattern he's 1 for 3 on the fly pattern, but a little down and in he gets it. Well, I don't know what they call that these days. They seem to move a little quicker than I remember them doing on the old Motown Review. A little extra stepping in these days.
And there you get a view of some of the homecoming entertainment. A lot of festivities in the crowd, and this is obviously a ensemble that works together very much with that you just saw. And there you get another view of them doing a very good job of entertaining the crowd here. And again, the crowd showing some appreciation with the clapping. And this is fun. I mean, this is sports, quite frankly, at its purest level, I guess. I mean, there are no checks being handed out here after the game, so everybody's doing it for fun here and for love of the game. But we're back to live action, and Santa Monica out near another first down on the pass play that time.
It's Anthony Green atones for for his sin of dropping that little lateral. The lateral had led to a touchdown, and this time he makes the catch out there that gets him close to a first down. Little down and out. And back east, we used to say, go down and stand between the car and I'll hit you. Down and out between the cars, and the defender couldn't get there, and you hit the guy for the first down.
And quite frankly, I've been impressed with the passing game of Santa Monica. I mean, they have a legitimate passing game, and it has kept Leuzinger off balance most of this first half. Hasn't yielded them a lot of points yet. In fact, they've only got a touchdown out of it, but you can see that they're starting to click early on in the first half, first quarter primarily. A lot of near misses, and now those near misses are turning into completions, David.
Well, if it gets to the point where Alan Hunt becomes a decoy, because, you know, he is the feature back, and they've gone to him quite often in this first half, but I tell you, if he's able to explode and they're able to do something with the passes, as it seems like on this drive, it's been a good control drive, but they've had more success going to the little down and outs and down and ins as opposed to the fly patterns. Now, what's happening right now, one of the officials is on the sideline talking to the Leuzinger cheerleaders. Apparently, someone has complained about the dancing. I mean, that little Motown Stax review that we saw, Motown Philly Stax review that we saw a few seconds ago. Maybe they were complaining about that because one of the officials is right at the Leuzinger bench, and he's talking to someone, and I don't know if he's telling them he wants them to turn the music off or not dance while the game is going, but everyone's standing around. You see the Leuzinger defense, they're looking at it. And we're just waiting to get the official. They're talking to the coaching staff right there.
Right, and if we can get a shot of that, there you see the referee along with head coach Bobby Greer of the Olympians, and looks like whatever.
Because at first he was talking to the boosters and the band. Maybe he's telling them that, because I don't know, maybe that little dance was distracting or something. I don't know how it could be, but we're going to, maybe someone in the crew will find out what exactly they were talking about, but we've had a little bit of a delay here with 6:48 to go, and the delay, of course, stops the drive for Santa Monica.
And he goes over to the Santa Monica coaching staff to explain to them, as is required, exactly what was going on. So now we're back to live action with 6:45 left in the first half. Leuzinger leading by a score 13-3, but Santa Monica on the march. And the Vikings go to the air once again. This time he overthrows Watson, his intended receiver.
Yeah, it was a good little pump fake, but of course that time no chance of getting it. Way overthrown. He was open, but the timing on that one was off. As now they have the third and short. That's one of those situations where you got that short situation. Might as well try to go for the big home run ball, but now they're going to look just to make that half a yard and get that first down and keep the drive going.
So Santa Monica trying on nearly every down now to take advantage of their receivers. This time they keep it on the ground on the third and short. Looks like they got enough for the first down, and that will keep the drive alive as they move it inside the 20-yard line, where it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Vikings.
So Bowden on the keeper that time, or Bowden, if you will. And able to stretch that big 6'1" frame, just lean it in, and they will keep their drive going.
So from the Leuzinger 18-yard line, out of the eye, they give it to the second back through, and he stopped for no gain on the play. Make it a 2nd down and 10 now for Santa Monica. Certainly wanting to take advantage this time of the excellent field position, David, as they're inside the red zone and want to come away. They'd love to come away with 7 here, that's for sure.
Well, they send Alan Hunt up the middle again this time, and hasn't been much there up the middle. Most of his success has been to the outside. So no surprise that he doesn't get much at the teeth of that Olympian defense.
This time we got a flag on the play as they keep it on the ground. They pick up about 2 on the carry, but let's see how this flag will influence this play.
Well, it's Hunt up the middle again, and from the looks of things, it looks like it's going to be a holding against Santa Monica. Some of the good crowd on hand here tonight. It's holding it is. That's going to set him back 15 yards.
Ball moves back
Looking down on the sideline for my former I see him over there. Jason Miller, former broadcast partner here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Being joined tonight, as it was for the second half of last week's game, fans, by David Marks, writer for the LA Watts Tide, and a darn fine writer at that. Here's a pass off the back foot that's incomplete by Bowden once again. So that's going to make it a 3rd and long this time for Santa Monica, 3rd and 19.
Well, that play didn't develop too well, having to throw it off the foot. Don't know what they were looking for. Either the rush was just there. It's one of those plays almost looked like maybe he wanted to go, well, he was looking to the right side all the way, but if he was able to adjust and turn around and hit someone on the left side, he might have had a big gainer. But here, another big 3rd down and long play. They need about 20 yards for the 1st down.
They show you expect him to go to the air. That's what Bowden drops back to do, throws a nice tight spiral that's intercepted by Johnson. He's got a lane down the sideline, still going, still on his feet, and he's finally brought down at the Santa Monica 35-yard line, but that was about a 60-yard interception return that time for Johnson.
Well, another one of those juniors, and again, you go to the well, you keep going to the well. He's able to get away from the pressure, gets it down there, but covered very well. I mean, he's right in front of the receiver, picks it off, and straight down the sideline, had a lane, and that's a good blocking. It looked like about a 60, 65-yard return, and with about 5:08 to go until halftime, the Olympians are in business.
So, Olympians start the drive by giving it off to Fontenot. He goes over left tackle for a gain of about 3 on the play.
Well, a real tough break for the Santa Monica Vikings that time. They were on the verge of, well, actually the penalty was really tough, but they were perhaps on the verge of at least another field goal or some points. If they get scored on here by Leuzinger, this game could pretty much be over at halftime.
I said a gain of 3. They credit him officially with a gain of about 1.5 yards. This time it's McCullough, and he's got 3 plus some as he picks up the 1st down on a big run down inside the 20-yard line to about the 15 for Tavita McCullough.
Well, a good carry straight up the middle, straight up the gut that time. He fumbled on his 1st carry, so atones for it. Wide open, could have driven a truck through that. Could have driven Rufus through that, come to speak of it.
There you see McCullough go right up the middle, and he's not brought down until after he picks up 19 on the play. This time Fontenot breaking tackles as he gets down inside the 10-yard line. So Leuzinger here positioning themselves very well to take advantage of the 60-yard interception return by Chester Johnson.
And, you know, it's, of course the offense is running well, but you have to wonder if after a turnover like that, the Vikings are somewhat dispirited.
And now we've got flags on the play.
And that kind of turnover that we saw, it can, when you got, especially when you have players that go both ways, be out there on that field and get disappointed. And
okay, let's look at the interception one more time, fans. There you see Bowden dropping back the pass. Actually, a very, very nicely thrown ball, but Chester Johnson just steps in front of his intended receiver, and he sees his path down the sideline, and, man, he's trucking. You see the arms chugging there, decides to cut it back in, and is finally brought down, but not until after he had returned it 60 yards on that play.
Yeah, and it's
back in live action, Leuzinger keeps it on the ground to Fontenot, who's dropped for no gain on the play.
Well, I started to say for Santa Monica, it's just ironic the fact that they were open so many times as that pass on the interception was intended for Jamal Watson, but that time they had the double coverage on him. If the double coverage is not there, he may have a shot at it, but double coverage, and it leads to the interception.
So it's a 2nd down and 9 for the Olympians. We've got 3:10 left here in the first half, excuse me. They keep it on the ground one more time, and they keep chugging forward. Get out near, and the indication is that it's a touchdown from the side, Judge. So that's Donald Bell with the 10-yard touchdown run on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Gives us an opportunity to take a quick station break right here, folks, on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. And we're back, fans. While we went to that brief station break, there was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty called against the Olympians for excessive celebration after the touchdown. So the touchdown stands, but they're backed up 15 yards. They'll be attempting this extra point from about the 17-yard line. So obviously they'll look to pass into the end zone. Foster lays the pass up, and it's incomplete. But on the touchdown with 2:50 left in the first half, Leuzinger leads by a score now of 19-3 over the visiting Santa Monica Vikings. And so right now it's turning out to be a very exciting and very thrilling homecoming for the Leuzinger fans, David.
Yes, it's very thrilling, but as far as being a competitive game, it's disappointing due to the fact that Santa Monica has definitely had shots at the end zone, but they have not been able to complete it, and you've got to somewhat credit that to the Olympian defense. The big interception, run back 65 yards. They stopped them on 4th down a couple of other times, so Santa Monica's threatened. They've had the long bomb threats on occasion. They've run Allen Hunt fairly well, but not able to complete a drive. No touchdowns, only 3 points on a field goal.
And right now the Vikings digging a hole for themselves as they take the kickoff at the 25-yard line. And they bring it out to about the 35. Looks like that's where they'll spot it at, and it is. So with 2:44 officially left in the first half, Santa Monica trailing by a score of 19-3 to the Leuzinger Olympians will go on offense.
And of course the big play of the half with them trailing 7-3, the lateral attempting to hit Bowden, looking to get Anthony Green on the left side. Green not able to come up with a lateral. It was ruled a lateral and run all the way back for the touchdown to make it 13-3. Then the interception leading to another touchdown.
This time they keep it on the ground to Hunt. McCullough grabs a hold of his jersey and doesn't let go. Hunt churns forward for about 4 yards, though, before he's finally brought down.
Well, they don't have those Nebraska Cornhusker breakaway jerseys anymore, do they?
No, they don't. Alabama was also famous for the breakaway jerseys as well.
Yes,
I don't know, I guess it's those teams that wear red.
I just remember sitting there watching the Orange Bowl, and I guess it was Johnny Majors or Johnny Rogers, was
Johnny
it?
Rogers.
Johnny Rogers, and saying, man, how come he can't keep a shirt on? Sitting there on the bench when the game was over with no shirt.
Now, if you remember Johnny Majors, you really are old. Yeah, because you're talking late 50s for Johnny Majors at University of Tennessee, of course, who went on to have a very successful coaching career at Tennessee and Pittsburgh, now retired from coaching.
Yeah, I just got my Johnnies mixed up. I remember early 70s, Johnny Rogers, and a few Orange Bowl, those games against the Oklahoma Sooners. He was a hot one that never made it at the NFL level. Interesting.
Vikings drop back to pass once again. This pass incomplete. Throwing over in the direction of Alpha English, the best defensive cover man that the Olympians have.
Well, on a 4th down here with about 1:29 to go till halftime, they're going to have to punt. And whereas a second ago, or about 2 or 3 minutes ago, it looked like a score might make the game more competitive. It would have got them within 3 points. Now they have to worry about not being scored on again before the half ends.
Back to receive for the Olympians, number 3, Bell, and number 7, I believe, Fontenot. They kick it over to Bell's side. Doesn't look like he's going to have an opportunity for a return as the ball sails out of bounds at about the 36-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians with 1:20 left here in the first half. They lead by a score of 19-3 over the Santa Monica Vikings. A very enjoyable homecoming thus far for the Leuzinger Olympians.
Yes, and Coach Bobby Greer wanted once again to thank the Booster Club, and there were a couple of parents in particular that he mentioned. Steve Duran, Byron Miller, Mrs. Guerin, Gilbert Sanchez, and Harvey Paez. Those were the 5 parents that he specifically wanted us to mention on the air for their support with the Booster Club this year.
And Fontenot breaks loose on the play, gets down to the Santa Monica 40. Nice 22-yard gain by Fontenot on that play.
Well, straight through, and you got to wonder if at this time Santa Monica is not, giving up big runs the past couple of drives. Got to wonder if has their heart left the contest.
Olympians this time in a rare display of their aerial firepower go to the air, complete the pass to Donald Bell. Clock continues to run. We're under a minute here. Leuzinger running their version of the hurry-up offense. It's a second down, about 4 for the Olympians. They keep it on the ground, and they pick up the first down. Clock will stop momentarily as they move the chains. That was McCullough with the carry.
And you got to figure Coach Donald Pazinger for Santa Monica not liking the effort in these last 2 drives. And as we said, when they had to punt the ball with 1:29 to go, you wonder, were they in danger of being scored on again before the half? If they're scored on again before the half, it is going to be all uphill in the second half for them. So they need to stop here with 37 seconds to go.
And you see Leuzinger using their final timeout of the first half. Again, with only 37 seconds remaining in the half, wanting to take advantage of this scoring opportunity for the Olympians. As you said, another score here really puts it out of the way. I just wanted to take a second to say, David, all the folks who work in the Booster Club are fine people. Some of them I know, some I don't, but I can tell you Steve Duran, whom I've known for a lot of years, is a big booster of Leuzinger Athletics, and he's the guy who cooks all the hamburgers over there at the Snack Shack. So, Steve, I want to give a special shout-out to him. There you see a pass completion to Bell, who's driven out of bounds.
Well, I can't say that I've met Mr. Duran yet, but I have a request for veggie burgers. If we can get some soy veggie burgers, we'll have something going there.
Well, I'm sure on the veggie burger, if you bring it, he'll cook it. This is a beef-eating place around here. But at any rate, we've got 33 seconds left in the first half. Second down and 4 for the Olympians. They're just outside the 10-yard line. Foster elects to keep it. He's going to be stopped on the play. And the question now will be whether or not the Olympians can get another playoff before the half expires. They're out of timeouts. Clock rolling with 20 seconds left. It's a 3rd and long for the Olympians now. And it's incomplete. That pass intended for Fontenot. So with 7 seconds left, it'll be 4th down for the Olympians. Ball at the 14-yard line approximately. Be a 31-yard field goal attempt if they were to try it.
And from the looks of things, they gave the Semi-So McCullough kicked a leg, asking do they want to go for the field goal, but it looks like they're going to take another shot at the end zone.
Where they're coming with 3 wideouts to the left side. One back stays in. Foster steps up. Foster now lets it go. Hits Bell, and Bell drops it. Oh, Donald Bell, who's scored 2 touchdowns tonight, had a great opportunity, wide open. And quite frankly, Friday the 13th jumped up and hit him right in the hands on that one, Mark.
That's a good way of looking at it, but I tell you, he did have his hands all over that one, just slid. And it looked like as he hit the ground or started to tumble, that's when it kind of came out. But tough break for the Olympians and a reprieve for Santa Monica with a second to go.
We got a replay of that last play as we 1 second left here in the first half. Let's see what Santa Monica chooses to do here. Maybe they'll get adventuresome. Looks like they plan to. Bowden dropping back to pass. Lets it go. Throws it out of bounds. Incomplete to end first half action. And as you see, the Olympians leave the field to a 19-3 lead. Let's watch a replay of that last Leuzinger pass by Foster.
Ladies and
that just slipped out of Bell's hands. There you see it. Bell's up. Oh, man, he makes a good effort, just can't bring it in. But Leuzinger, on homecoming 1998, goes into the locker room at halftime, leading by a score of 19-3 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Want you to enjoy the halftime festivities, and we'll be back at the top of the third quarter right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22.
gentlemen, your 1998 homecoming king, Silvano Franco. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1998 candidates and finalists for your homecoming king and queen. Please give them all a big hand. Tonight's homecoming entertainment will feature the...
Okay, fans, we're back for second half activities here. Leuzinger leading by a score of 19-3 here on homecoming 1998. A lot of crowd excitement for the homecoming ceremonies, David.
Yes, we do, and we have a couple of winners. The new homecoming queen is Josephine Roberts, and the homecoming king is Silvano Franco.
Now that's already printed up. It looks like you knew who was going to come out on this thing before it was ever announced.
Well, I personally didn't know, but you know, it's one of those secret ballot things. They had to give it to the PA announcer at halftime to give him the winner, so the PA announcer passed it off to me. But whoever decided, I guess, knew ahead of time what the situation was going to be.
Well, let's announce a couple of the other winners on the Sports Royalty Banner Award. The most original was Isabel Nevades. Most artistic was LaShawn Lofton. Best executed was Josephine Roberts. And the most colorful was Isabel Nevades. And the grand sweepstakes went to Melody Silva. So, we're back and we'll get you the runner-ups for the ladies and the men's in terms of king and queen in just a few minutes. But Leuzinger right now preparing to kick off to start third quarter action. And it's a very short squib kick taken by the up-back number 10, who loses his balance and goes down at the 35-yard line. So it'll be first and 10 from there for Santa Monica. And right now, David, they've got a bit of a hill to climb here, trailing by 19-3 in front of this hostile Leuzinger crowd.
Well, you know, the way they played the first half, again, almost clicking on a couple of big fly patterns. They seemed like the offense got in gear once they started going to a little down and in, a little down and out, the short sort of safety patterns. But they are the sort of team that can score in a hurry, and if they're able to click in the second half, they could be effective. We've seen Jamal Watson miss quite a few of them on the long bomb, and of course the quarterback Brandon Bowden has been effective but not able to connect on some of those big bombs.
Just to remind you again, in earlier competition today, Hawthorne did defeat Beverly Hills at Beverly Hills, and so Hawthorne wins the Bay League crown for the 1998 season outright, having gone undefeated, and they'll be playing at home next week in the first round of the CIF Southern Section playoffs. And of course, as you know, fans, Channel 22 Sports will be right here to bring it to you. So we know that you'll join us next week for the first round of the 1998 playoffs featuring the Hawthorne Cougars. But right now, we've got a ball game here as the Vikings go to the air for the short completion.
And it was those little short hookups in the latter stages of the first half that were effective. And of course, their last drive on offense that led to the last scoring touchdown for the Olympians was the big interception on the double coverage. But here they just go to the little down, turn around, catch it. And that was their most effective offense, as they were not able to connect on some of the bombs off of fingertips and just being missed in the first half.
This time to keep it on the ground, handing it off to number 6, Joseph Young.
That's Young's second carry of the night, as of course the feature back is Alan Hunt. And you know, we're talking about Hawthorne, as we mentioned him a few times tonight. Eshi Mandu, when the ball game is over, since of course we do Hawthorne and Leuzinger, and some of the Hawthorne audience does watch these games here in Lawndale. He wants the fans in the viewing audience. He wants to thank all the fans, and he says that he hopes God's blessings are with Hawthorne as they enter the first round of the playoffs.
3rd down and 3 play now for the Vikings. They're going to be stopped short of the first down. As a matter of fact, they just get back to the line of scrimmage. So the coaching staff for Santa Monica, they have to make a decision here. They're at their own 43-yard line, need to get to the 46 to pick up the first down.
Well, when you're 2-7, you go for it, and that's what they are. So are the Olympians. Leuzinger 2-7. These teams are about even in the conference. Leuzinger 2-4. So this is a game for 5th place. So they're definitely going for it.
And they go for it out of the eye. There is a pass, and it's complete. Looks like it'll be enough for the first down.
And again, a little down and curl. Watson on the catch that time. And if they did they give them the mark? I don't know if they. Well, check it. It's actually incomplete.
Well, they certainly fooled us on that play. Let's watch the replay here again.
We were shielded by number 53 there. We couldn't help it.
So on the incompletion, it's Leuzinger's ball, 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line of Santa Monica. They come out by handing it off to Fontenot, and he picks up a couple as he gets down to the 40.
Well, Fontenot, of course, the feature back for the Olympians in the first half. He had a good first half. He scored 1 touchdown, scored the first touchdown of the night for Leuzinger.
And Leuzinger, as you might expect, will go to the ground game, I would expect, somewhat exclusively here. Of course, you want to stay in your same offensive rhythm. It's way too early to go into a clock and ball control type situation. And Donald Bell, that was McCullough with the carry. And he picks up a first down on the play as he gets down to the 30-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians.
Yeah, he just takes him straight up the middle, and that's why he's been effective for most of the night.
So the Olympians out of the eye again. Here's the handoff to the second back through, which is Fontenot. Fontenot still running. Ball comes loose. Santa Monica still doesn't have it. Leuzinger may have recovered that. Santa Monica had a clear shot at the loose ball, but I don't think they can. Well, they do. That's the indication. Certainly didn't look like it initially, but as they unpile, Santa Monica has the football courtesy of the fumble by Thury and Fontenot.
Well, you may remember at the last drive of the first half, or last defensive stand of the first half for Santa Monica, we were questioning whether they had the heart to stay in the ball game, whether they, in fact, after giving up the big interception and the score, if they were just packing it in. Well, they've come out aggressive in the early stages of this third quarter, and their aggression leads to the fumble, and they may have something here.
And that's intercepted by Foster.
Intercepted by Chaz Foster.
Foster working down the sideline. Foster got some running room. Touchdown for Chaz Foster. And he intercepted that at about his 30-yard line. That's a 70-yard interception return for Chaz Foster. And no flags on the play.
Well, I started to say here's something here, and again for about the 5th or 6th time tonight, it's a situation where, well, that time the receiver was open, but he was underthrown, just underthrown by Bowden that time. And the interception on the underthrow down the sideline, not able to get him, and all the way in for the score. And this is going to look like a long second half for Santa Monica, as it's now 25-3, pending the point after touchdown.
That was Foster with the Chaz Foster, the starting QB. On the defensive side of the ball that time, makes a 70-yard interception return for the touchdown. Extends the Leuzinger lead right now to 25-3 with their extra point attempt coming up.
Well, Santa Monica can't seem to catch a break. It's as Fontenot coming off the field, shaking up a little on that play. He's coming off.
There you see our clock with 8:27 left here in the third. Leuzinger leading by a score of 25-3 with their extra point attempt coming up.
That's been kind of tough for the Vikings. A good night so far for the Olympians, going for the 2-point conversion.
They keep it on the ground. McCullough with the carry. And no indication from the official. It's no good. So Leuzinger leads by a score of 25-3 with 8:23 left here in the third quarter on what is working out to be a very, very fulfilling homecoming for the Olympians. And as Coach Greer had indicated earlier, it looks like they're getting their other wish, that the seniors, the guys who've been around this program for a couple of years, and although it's been a disappointing season, looks like they're going to be able to wrap up their high school football career on a winning note, David.
Yes, and as we mentioned earlier, he's very concerned about their future academically. He wants them to be able to go on to college and not just settle for junior colleges. He wants to see them at 4-year colleges, because he said in the past he's had problems with players for one reason or another, personal reasons, not being able to, they may finish the 4 years of eligibility, but not able to finish their required courses in high school. And sometimes he felt that they perhaps settle for going to junior colleges when they could try to get into big 4-year universities. And that's something he stressed, and that's something he wants to work on. So there are a lot of things psychologically at stake here tonight for Leuzinger. Leuzinger looks like they're being up 25-3, 8:17 to go third quarter. It looks like it's going to be a good night on the scoreboard, but there's a lot of other things that are at stake.
So Santa Monica takes the kickoff out to about the 25-yard line, where it's a 1st and 10 for them. This time they give it to Hunt, and he's going to be stopped after a very short gain, given maybe 2 yards on the play.
Well, it's been kind of tough for them. They got the break on the fumble. First play, they looked to go deep, and the play is underthrown, so there at the point, although they came out, the philosophy was, let's see what the defense will give us. Well, have not been able to do much. Had a couple of good attempts in the first half, only a field goal to show for it.
Of course, our broadcast running a little long tonight because of the homecoming festivities with the extended halftime. There's another pass. This one's going to be complete. It's going to be out near the first down, depending on where the official spots it at.
Yeah, it's Mike Gilliam, the senior, with his first catch of the night. And it was those short, little quick down and ins that seemed to be the most effective. It's when they go to the bomb that they have had the problem tonight.
So they credit Santa Monica with the first down. It's a 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Ball spotted at the 36-yard line. Once again, keeping it on the ground. And again, very little gain on the play. Carry by Joseph Young for the Vikings. McCullough in on the stop for the Olympians, but there is a flag on the play.
Yeah, Joseph Young carrying that time. McCullough right there to meet him. And the call this time is going to go against Santa Monica, holding on the play. Well, we can't see who held there, but call goes against the Vikings.
Joseph there protecting the football, not just with his hands, but it looks like he had a towel there wrapped around the ball as well. That penalty declined by the Olympians makes it a 2nd down and 10 now for the Vikings.
2nd and 11 for Santa Monica.
Okay, let's look again here on this carry. And there you're going to see the towel in Young's hand. Not quite sure why it was up in that position. Normally it's tucked in his pants, but somehow or another he was carrying it in his hands.
Well, our truck picked that one up. That's good.
Once again, Santa Monica going to the air, and Bowden overthrows his intended receiver, Gilliam, by about 5 yards.
Well, in the first half, he was on target, but they weren't holding on to them as he's interested in that program, as you can see. He was on target, but the receivers just weren't there. Last couple of passes of the first half was underthrown, leading to an interception. Of course, an interception run back for a touchdown. That was underthrown. This time it's overthrown, so that fly pattern just has not been there tonight for the Vikings.
There must have been some interesting reading in that Leuzinger program, because that kid was looking at it wide-eyed. Yeah.
Wants to see himself in there one day as a player, I guess.
So it's a 3rd and long now for Santa Monica, and they're going to rule that was a forward pass. Incomplete. The Santa Monica quarterback shaken up on the play as a result of the big hit put on him by Lamar Johnson.
Well, Brandon Bowden on the big hit, the senior. Did not start the ball game tonight for some reason. Espinoza started. Started hot, but has not been able to get 6 points on the board yet.
And you see the official's indication there that it was a forward pass ruled incomplete.
Well, no choice but to go for it here.
So back to receive for the Olympians are Bell and Fontenot.
Oh, actually, they're going to punt. How about that?
There's a punt, pretty decent punt. Bell gets under it, and he's hit right on contact with the football. But a good hold there by Donald Bell. Great special teams play. Leuzinger will take possession with 6:33 left in the 3rd quarter on their own 30-yard line right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 as we watch a replay of that last punt.
Yeah, that's Dion Locke for Santa Monica saying, good evening. How you doing?
Good special teams play by both players. The good tackle there by Santa Monica, and good to hold on to the football by Donald Bell. Leuzinger keeping it on the ground with Therian Fontenot. He's stopped after a very short game.
Fontenot workmanlike tonight. Already has 1 touchdown on the ball game.
2 yards on the play. 2nd and 8 at the 32.
And it'll be interesting to see if Santa Monica is able to make a stand or if you start to see them give up big chunks of yardage.
So it's a 2nd down and 9 for the Olympians now. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This is Fontenot. He picks up the 1st down. Got some running room. Gets out near midfield before he's finally brought down. So Stharian Fontenot adding to his rushing statistics at this point for a player like him. And although he doesn't play for stats, it certainly won't hurt to look in the paper and see what kind of numbers and what kind of season you had. Here you see just a straight handoff.
Yeah, and when you got a first step like that, I mean, nothing much a defense could do. Just get right around that right line. I mean, you can't accuse the Viking defense of, like, faulty tackling or anything. Just got that stepping right around it.
And this time they hand off to Foster. He goes left. He's got a big hole. There's a flag on the play. Looks like this is going to be holding against the Olympians. You saw the flag come in way back up here at the 40-yard line. Fontenot got down to about the 12. But there's a flag back at the Santa Monica 40, and this game may come back.
Well, I was starting to say this time credit the offensive line because that run was made with smart. That line opened up that initial hole, but perhaps they opened it up a little too well.
And the holding penalty will go against the Olympians.
Holding on the offense. Repeat, 1st down. After the 10-yard penalty for Leuzinger at their own 49.
And the camera is the other way, not that way.
So it's now it's difficult to tell what the exact down and distance is. It's a 1st down, but I don't think the side marker is in proper position.
Well, it's the old naked eye. Let's see, what is it about? It is kind of tough to tell. It got it's about 10 plus, about 10 yards. 10 yards to go, and it is 2nd down.
So the ball spotted at the Santa Monica 48-yard line, where it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Olympians.
Our truck guys in the truck want to go home. They said it's 0 downs and 0 to go.
Little mix up in the backfield. There you see the clock running.
They've been reading that scoreboard.
Scoreboard not operating 100% right now. The clock is right, though. We're approaching 4 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. Leuzinger leading by a score of 25-3. What a way to celebrate homecoming, especially if you're a senior and this is your last go-around. They fake the handoff to Fontenot. Swing a pass out to McCullough. McCullough with some running room. Breaks a couple of tackles, still on his feet. Still just dodging guys left and right as he gets down inside the 10. But I thought I saw a flag come in, and there was a flag that came in at about the 30-yard line. Now we see another flag on the play.
Well, they may call him for having some grease on his jersey because it was slippery that time. Couldn't get him down. But this one is probably going to go against the Olympians as they start to march back upfield.
And here again, you'll see on the replay, Foster dropping back the pass. Hits McCullough. And the call is holding against Leuzinger. There you see the reception made. Now, somewhere in here, okay, they call the holding there. But it looked like, and I didn't want to unfairly malign Bell, but the second one was a penalty. Okay. And I believe that second one was against Bell, number 3, who was in the vicinity of an official and apparently mouthed off something, and you saw the official throw the quick flag.
And that cost him many, many yards. 3rd and 16.
So Leuzinger now backed up into their own territory at their own 45-yard line, 3rd and 16. They need to get to the 40 of Santa Monica to pick up the first down. There's a pass complete to Brown. Brown with some running room. Brown would appear to have the first down and then some.
Well, a good catch, good pattern, trying to get the misdirection there, but also some missed tackling by the Vikings. Looked like Alan Hunt missed a tackle.
And the Vikings, as we watch the replay here, Foster just lets that thing go. And David Brown does most of the work on his own as he picks up the first down before he's finally driven out of bounds.
David Brown, another one of those juniors.
This time they reward Brown with the carry.
At the bottom of the tackle pile.
So that was a 3rd down play. It looks like they finally got the yard markers correct. We're having to depend upon our sight line here of the yard marker because the scoreboard is inoperable, and sometimes that's not to positioned properly, I should say. But it is a 2nd and what would appear to be about a 2nd and 7 for the Olympians. McCullough with the carry is going to pick up a couple. Still be short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and about 3 for the Olympians now. Here with 2:13 left in the 3rd quarter, they lead by a score of 25-3.
Well, with this being the last game, of course, the homecoming game and the last game of the year for Leuzinger, they will be losing 14 seniors, but only 2 of them are starters. So they're in a unique situation as far as Bobby Greer is concerned, a situation where he wants the team to be old next year, and I'll explain what he meant by that.
3rd down play, they give it off to Fontenot. He slices in between the guards. The guard in the center picks up about 2 yards on the play.
Yeah, what Coach Greer meant by hoping the team will be old, again, we said that in the past they've had problems of people not being able to come back either due to academic reasons or having to leave to get employment to help their family out. And with the team having an overall GPA of 2.9 this year, he's hoping that they are going to finally be an old veteran team next year. Well, if they bring all those fabulous juniors back, they in fact will.
So it's a 4th and 1 for the Olympians from the Samoa High 24. Foster drops back to pass. Pass intended for Alpha English. Broken up by number 7 for Santa Monica. That's Bowden, the quarterback.
Brandon Morton made the tackle. Stop the play.
So Santa Monica with one of their better defensive stands, one of their few defensive stands of the night, able to take over on downs.
Now they need to get something on the scoreboard with 2 ticks under a minute to go in this 3rd quarter.
So with under a minute left here in the 3rd, it's Santa Monica's ball, 1st and 10 from their own 24-yard line.
Pass is incomplete.
And that pass falls incomplete. Again, our game gets stretched unmercifully because of the passing game, because the clock stops with each incompletion.
So we might be out here for a bit with a whole nother quarter to go.
Santa Monica this time keeping the ball on the ground, picking up the first down as they get out near the 40-yard line. They're gonna say he stepped out of bounds at the 37, but it's enough for the first down. As you see our clock and score, they're down in distance, are not operating, so you can't judge by that, but the score is correct. Olympians 25, Santa Monica 3. Clock running under 40 seconds left in the third quarter.
Yeah, that carry there by Alan Hunt, his best carry by far of the second half. He had some big ones in the first half, but not able to crack it over, and found it going up the middle very tough in the first half.
Leuzinger steps across but gets back and gets set. And they stop the Vikings for no gain on that play.
Well, a problem with the exchange that time, trying to get it to Joseph Young. And they lose about a yard. So it's going to be about 2nd and 11, 12 or so, if you will.
And that'll be our final play of the third quarter. So after 3 quarters, Leuzinger leads by a score of 25-3 here on homecoming 1998. The Olympians doing it in style as they close out their 1998 football season. And we'll take a break right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. All right, we're back, fans, to start fourth quarter action right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. For the Vikings, it's a 2nd down and 12. Deep in their own territory. They drop back the pass. They put it up, and it's incomplete. Foster on the coverage. That pass intended for Watson. And, of course, with Leuzinger having this game well in hand, David, gives us a chance and a unique opportunity to highlight some of the players for the Olympians who are not only great players on the field, but scholars in the classroom.
Well, Alpha English, a 3.1 GPA. Alpha English, of course, one of the seniors, will be playing his final game here tonight. He plays free safety. Darrell Guerin on the defensive line. He's another academic standout. That one, of course, that's underthrown right there. David Marshall, who we saw earlier tonight, has a 3.1 GPA. And Lamar Johnson also doing well academically. So Coach Bobby Greer, of course, stressing the academics this season, wants to point out the fine academic performances of those players. And the team as a whole has a 2.9 GPA. And he expects most of them to be taking their SATs this year. And he's looking for them to make it to the next level. And he wants them to go not just to a junior college, not to be headed strictly in that direction, although junior college is a safe option and a good option for some students, but he wants them to aggressively go to those 4-year programs.
Okay, so it's a 4th down for the Vikings. They show punt. They finally do. For a second there, it looked like they may have been faking it. Fontenot picks up the punt, has some running room, has a hole. There's a flag on the play. Fontenot brought down, but not until he gets to the 40 of Santa Monica, but there's a flag back up here at the Leuzinger 35-yard line.
Well, that one's probably going to come back, but another good run there for Fontenot, who, of course, will be around next year. If you're a Leuzinger fan, you've got to be very encouraged by the fact that they have so many juniors, and if they can get them all back here next year, they should be able to compete for a Bay League title.
And there you see a shot at Therian Fontenot, clearly injured on the play on the Leuzinger sideline right now.
Well, to give you a little comparison, one good thing for Leuzinger is the fact that they have only 8 seniors, where Hawthorne, who today won the Bay League championship, has 29 seniors. So you might see a little power change next year in the Bay League in 1999.
So it's a 1st and 10 for Leuzinger from their own 20-yard line. They keep it on the ground. Let's see who was that with the carry. That was number 1, Lamar Johnson, one of the graduating seniors for the Olympians.
Olympians with 14 of them all in all.
And you would expect at this point, in this stage of the game, with the game, I would think, well in hand, with Leuzinger leading by a score of 25-3, with 11 minutes left in the contest, that you probably will start to see a number of the seniors getting a little PT here. Foster still in right now at quarterback. Olympians keep it on the ground. Very short gain again. at some of the other seniors on the team since we have a chance to highlight them, and this being their last FaceTime on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. You got Lamar Johnson, the senior. You got David Marshall, Alpha English, Jermaine Woodard, Roman Rodriguez, and a host of others. Let's see if we can get some other guys in here. Ulysses Lee, Adam Cohen, Terrence Hill, Daryl Guerin, Juan Mendez, known as Johnny. Olympians this time drop back to pass. We'll get back to the seniors in a moment. Pass is up, and it's complete. Looks like it may be short of the first down. A couple other seniors left here, fans. Luis Guerra, Paul Carter, Pedro Lopez, and Dwayne Phillips. Our hats off to all these guys. As we watch a replay here.
Yeah, I think that's one of those seniors we were talking about, Alpha English, with a 3.1 GPA.
And English makes the reception, which they rule was enough for the first down. So the Olympians, in the inimitable words of Alex Manilla, Channel 22 color commentator of years gone by, they keep the drive alive. This time here's a pitch to Bell. Bell stops a la Barry Sanders, regroups and picks up about 7 yards on the carry at what looked like a sure loss at first.
Yeah, it just slipped away. You mentioned a la Barry Sanders, and makes a positive gain out of it. They get about 7 yards. And of course, he will be back next year for the Leuzinger fans.
Bell making the fashion statement, as you can see there, with the one red shoe and the one blue shoe. Not quite sure what the significance of it is, but it's obviously of some import to him. This time he goes in motion. Foster pulls it down on the quarterback keeper. Doesn't fool anybody on the Santa Monica defensive line, particularly number 70 for the Vikings. Is not fooled at all, and that's Yado Padilla.
Yeah, they were showing a little run blitz that time. And you get the feeling that Foster picked it up but couldn't do too much about it. Picked it up a little too late.
So it's a 3rd and short now. 3rd and about, let's call it 2 yards. About 1.5 yards. Leuzinger puts a receiver in the slot to the right side. They give it off to Bell on the ground. Bell breaks the line of scrimmage, takes it out to the 45-yard line of the Vikings, which is more than enough for the first down. They needed 2, and he got about 15.
Well, the defense up tight again that time, and you know, when you just get past that first wave, you're gone. You're into the secondary, and they're going to have to stop you, and they do make the hard hit, as you heard the helmets click that time. Making a good stop.
So Donald Bell having a very good running game tonight. In fact, this is the most action we've seen him get on our Channel 22 coverage of the Olympians this season in terms of from the running back position.
Yeah, he's listed as a wide receiver, of course. Donald Bell at 5'5". Coach Greer talking about the fact that he is of the, well, I guess vertically, well, I hate to say vertically challenged. He's not one of the taller receivers in the league, but reminds me of an Eddie Bell who played many years ago for the New York Jets, who was not that tall either, but an effective receiver. He used to hook up with a fellow named Broadway Joe Namath quite often.
Olympians this time operate out of the I formation. They give it to the second back through, who is Bell. Bell gets around the right side. There's a flag on the play. It's going to be taken down as he crosses the 30-yard line, but the flag is way back at the 40.
Well, 5'5" Bell, of course. Fontenot limped off after the last offensive series, so he is probably through for the night. McCullough not in at the moment either. So Bell, the feature back. And at 5'5", a la Mac Herron, he used to play many years ago for the New England Patriots. Going helmet to helmet. But it was a holding call against Leuzinger.
Penalty being marked off against the Olympians. Takes them back to midfield. So in order to pick up the first down, it'll be 2nd and 15. They need to get down to the 35-yard line of Santa Monica. We got just under 7 minutes left in the game. Leuzinger has it well in hand, fans. There's a pitch back to Bell. Bell picks up about 5. Ball is stripped. Looks like Santa Monica forced a turnover, and that was just a strip on the part of the Santa Monica defender. He was going for all ball and came away with it.
Yeah, and a good play there, of course, going to the well again with Bell. And they reach in and make the strip. And I tell you got to be impressed with Bell being used here in the place of Fontenot. He's on the bench. And they just reach in there and get the ball. Yeah, and it looked like that time it was knocked out of there by Joseph Young. Made the initial knockaway.
You know, we got another fumble on the play. Santa Monica fumbles it right back, but it looks like they maintain possession. So although the ball pops loose for Santa Monica, they do maintain possession. And it's a 2nd down and 11 now for the Vikings.
And the Vikings still have yet to find the end zone for 6. Had an early field goal, very early, to make it 7-3. Had their chances in the first half, but not able to connect on some of the home run balls.
Santa Monica now in the I formation. Bowden drops back to pass. Bowden goes out toward the sideline, and his best receiver on that route was Alpha English. Only problem is he plays for the Olympians.
With wrong jersey. Well, of course, they did have some success on those down and ins, the little short hookups, the curls, but that hasn't worked ultimately for them here in the second half either.
So a Leuzinger crowd that hasn't had a lot to cheer about in this disappointing 2-7 campaign do get the joy of closing out the season on a high note as they prepare for their upcoming basketball season, which promises to be a lot of excitement, and you can count on some W's for the basketball team under head coach Charles Wright. Another flag on the play here.
Now about this, you got to keep in mind, I've never seen the Leuzinger basketball. Will we be sitting on the first row of the bleachers when we do the games, or we have a private booth?
We'll have great seats, I guarantee you that. And it'll be warm. That's the most important thing. But, you know, and who knows, if we're lucky enough, somebody might approve a couple of pieces in the budget for us.
So we'll be able to actually look into the coach's little X and O's book on the side. It will be that close, huh? Well, you gotta you know how tough it is to win in small buildings for the opponents?
Well, actually, that's a basketball arena right over in the distance there. The half-moon-shaped structure that you see. A lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm of being there this winter, because the Olympians are expecting a playoff-type season under basketball. Santa Monica on 4th down, going for it. Quarterback keeper, and he's driven out of bounds over on his sideline near the 50, which means he's about 6 yards short of the first down. So Leuzinger is going to take over on downs with 6:05 left in the contest, leading by a score of 25-3 as the Leuzinger marching band gets the crowd pumped up.
Yeah, Bowden just hoping to get it on the bootleg, but as has been the case most of the night, they've come up a buck short. And the football season winding down with just 6 minutes to go in it, regular season, and we're talking hoops already. How about that?
So Foster still under center at quarterback. Gives it off to McCullough. McCullough picks up 2 on the carry. Make it a 2nd down and 8 now for the Olympians. They're content, certainly at this stage, to stay on the ground and run the clock out and get this one over with.
Yeah, and of course at this point you don't want to get anybody hurt. with so many people coming back for Leuzinger. Santa Monica is going to lose a total of 24 seniors. Leuzinger losing 14, but only 2 starters.
As we mentioned to you earlier, gives us an opportunity, though, to remind you that Channel 22 sports coverage will continue next week as we follow the Hawthorne Cougar playoff run in the CIF Southern Section Division II playoffs. And ball goes down after a 1-yard gain on that play. So there's still some football to come, fans, and I know you'll join us right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. I'm Rufus Washington along with David Marks, as well as the rest of the very talented production crew here at 22.
And for those of you Hawthorne fans out there, they will get a chance to play at home. They're expecting a good crowd next week when they do play their game at home over in El Segundo. And they looked very impressive today, and the fans were celebrating in Beverly Hills, winning 45-19. And of note, the most encouraging thing was the fact that the passing game looked very good today. Moala looked very sharp. It was 8 for 13, 212 yards, 2 TD passes. Kevin Jackson looked sharp for them as well. He had 3 catches, 145 yards, 2 TDs. So as their coach Dan Robbins was telling me when the ball game was over, you know, they know as they get into the playoffs, everyone is going to key on stopping Ishimandu and stopping the running attack. And the Hawthorne Cougars are going to have to be able to pass. Well, they think they took a big step in the right direction today in getting that passing game on track. And they're expecting some big things in the postseason for Hawthorne. And as Rufus mentioned, it starts next week right here on Channel 22.
So there was a fumble on that play, recovered by Santa Monica. Fontenot fumbled it forward. Santa Monica recovered at their own 35-yard line. And with 4:20 left in the contest, let's watch the replay one more time. There you see Fontenot hit the hole, bounce off, nice little spin move. And once again, Santa Monica going for the strip. They come away with it, and they recover at their own 35-yard line, where it's 1st and 10 for them now.
Well, apparently Fontenot was okay back in there carrying the ball.
Bowden dropping back the pass, lays it up. Finally connects on the long pass with Watson as they take it down to the 36-yard line of the Olympians. And now with 4 minutes left in the contest, Santa Monica goes into their hurry-up offense.
Yeah, laid that one in there perfectly that time, and they got to be wondering, oh, where was that in the first quarter, in the first half? If they connect on a few of those, we've got a much tighter ball game. But as it is now, they're just playing to try to get 6 on the board in the last 4 minutes of this contest, last 4 minutes of the season.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Vikings. From the Leuzinger 35, I should say. Once again, they go to the air. This pass incomplete, nearly intercepted by the senior, Alpha English.
And about 4 dark jerseys there. Not much chance of that one being completed. And had to throw off the back foot and to rush that one.
As I say, they've thrown in English's direction a couple of times as you watch the replay. And as I've told you fans before, and there you see Bowden throwing off the back foot, which takes a little something off the ball. But Alpha English isn't the guy you want to pick on in the Leuzinger defensive backfield, that's for sure.
We have a score in. Hawthorne over Beverly Hills, 45-19.
Once again, Santa Monica goes to the air. That pass nearly intercepted by Fontenot, and it falls incomplete.
Fontenot in there breaking that one up as the lights will go out on the regular season.
Got a Leuzinger cheer squad there doing their thing. Like I say, a happy night for everybody over here on the Leuzinger side of the football. Not many of them this season, but I tell you what, if you only got a few of them, there's nothing like closing out the season with a W.
Well, the cheerleaders have a few more weeks to work, of course. They go indoors to the basketball gym, so season's not actually over for them.
So on the third down play, the pass is incomplete. Bring up a 4th and 10 now for the Vikings. And of course, they don't have any choice considering their field position except to go for it here. As you would say, David, there's certainly nothing to lose with 3:32 left in the contest, trailing by 22 points.
And this may be the last time they touch the ball on offense for the season. So they need 10 yards to at least keep the drive going. As we look forward to next week, it looks like all the positions are set in the Bay League. With the Hawthorne Cougars taking position number 1. Looks like Peninsula will take number 2.
So on the 4th down play, there's a pass over in the flat. Incomplete. So Leuzinger is going to take over on downs.
Leuzinger will
at
take
the 35-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians with 3:27 left in the contest, leading by a score of 25-3.
And Leuzinger, of course, will not be in the playoffs. They'll take spot number 5, but Bay League champions at 7-0, Hawthorne Cougars, they'll get the number 1 seed. Peninsula more than likely will be the number 2 seed. They're playing Miracosta tonight. May have a little effect on it, but we suspect Miracosta will be number 3 and Beverly Hills will be number 4, and those 4 teams will be in the Division II playoffs.
So Leuzinger keeping on the ground. That's Bell. Bell with the big carry. Finally brought down by Brandon Bowden.
Well, I think for next year, coaching staff has found a 3rd offensive back weapon in Bell for next season.
Well, certainly if you look toward next year, I tell you what, having a backfield of Fontenot and Bell certainly is going to be an impressive 1-2 punch. And Foster is a junior who will be coming back at quarterback. So one thing we know about the Leuzinger offensive backfield, it's pretty set.
Oh, yeah, and of course, let's not forget Tavita McCullough, the big back. He'll be there, so that's 3 outstanding runners that Coach Bobby Greer will be able to depend on next year. And I think next year, if he is able to get everybody back, if there are none of the problems that we spoke of earlier, it should be an interesting season, one that they might be able to challenge next year for the Bay League title.
McCullough with the carry, face mask called against the Vikings. That's going to take the ball down to the 28-yard line of Santa Monica now, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians with 2:40 clock running. Gives me a chance to remind you that these broadcasts are the exclusive property of Channel 22 Sports. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or retransmission without the express written consent of Channel 22 Sports is strictly prohibited. Now that we got all the legal stuff out the way, we can also tell you that Foster dropped for a loss on the play back to the 40-yard line.
7 yards lost on the play.
It's going to make it a 2nd and very long for the Olympians now, a 2nd and 17.
2nd and 25.
They're going to call it 2nd and 25, actually. Not sure where the phantom 8 yards came, but that's the call, and that's what we'll go with.
Foster tackled again in his own back.
And Leuzinger right now, David, clearly just playing to run the clock out, not even showing any offensive threat to move the ball forward. But instead, they know the game's well in hands, and they want to get out of here with the W.
Yeah, and of course, you don't want to rub it in with just about 1:20 to go in the season. And playoffs next week for some teams. These 2 teams will be going home. And as you look at the CIF Division II, well, we already know what's in the Bay League, but you wonder some of the Bay League teams get out, who will be some of the other tougher teams in Division II? Might think of Dominguez, perhaps.
So it's a 3rd and 29 now for the Olympians. Bell with the carry. He's going to bring up a 4th down as we're under 45 seconds left in the contest. Well, the way they've been on their backs most of the game, it's going to be awfully high to get those jerseys clean. But let's talk about the guys and lady here at Channel 22 Sports who make these broadcasts possible for you week in and week out. Tonight we got Tom Strickfaden producing and directing from the truck, along with Bill Barnes on replay. Our cameraman tonight, of course, always on main camera, Jose Bravo. Down at field level, Andrea Guglielmo. Side camera, Mr. Robert Medina. Also helping out tonight, Mr. Ali Santana, and a couple other folks that they're going to get me their names up from the truck. And Eric also, Eric the intern. We'll call him Eric Lewinsky. No, let's not call him that. We'll just call him Eric the intern. And that's the entire crew here, and that's the final. As you can see, Leuzinger tonight has a very successful homecoming, David. They win by a score of 25-3. It's the end of the season, but they go out on a positive note. What kind of things do you think that you take out of this type of game?
Well, I think here, you're tempted to say, of course, a team filled with juniors that's going to be coming back, and that's what you hope. But, of course, Coach Greer knows that there are other factors involved, and you have to be concerned about academics, about personal situations. But he's optimistic. He thinks that if he stays on them, he will be able to get everybody back, and he can keep them academically eligible. He can keep them focused so that they will be able to stay in school and play that senior year, because if they do come back, they will be very successful.
Okay, and so if you're a Leuzinger fan, as David was saying, you've got reason to be optimistic. You closed 98 on a winning note, and now you've got the 99 football season to look forward to. If you're Leuzinger, this is also the last broadcast of the season for you, but I want to say thanks to the entire Leuzinger family for all of their hospitality here, for each of our broadcasts, the coaching staff, under the direction of Coach Bobby Greer, along with our colleague Jason Miller, who used to be here, as well as the other folk who work security and work the grounds here. You help make these broadcasts possible. So for everybody from Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, for David Marks, I'm Rufus Washington saying it's been a pleasure and good night.